Hey guys, it's Simon. This is Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Wednesday, and that means tonight was AEW Dynamite. And I'm going to give my honest opinions. And why did I lose the YouTube chat? Give me 1 second to pull the YouTube chat back up. But if I'm going to give my honest opinions, I was literally bored from start to finish on this show. Bored to the point where I contemplated not even doing a review. I was just like, why do I even want to talk about this show? I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. And that is a big talking point. That they come off of their, and this is just my opinion, you don't got to agree with me. Some other people might think that this show is great. But they come off of their biggest show of the year. 27 to 28,000 people in that building. And then they go and do this show. Just a random Dynamite that actually kind of felt like a collision that had less than 1,200 people in the building. What? This is all we got as the follow-up to All In. We got a guy that was so worried about not being able to challenge for the world title that he's going to go challenge for another title now, even though he can't go for... Really? Swerve's whole thing was, I don't know if we should put our not being able to go for the world title on the line deal. And then he tells Ospreay, these better not backfire. And then they win, and they can still challenge for the titles, the world title. But then the first thing he does is goddamn want to go after Okada and the United title or the Undisputed, whatever it's called, Unified title. Like they had the perfect built-in story. Swerve and Ospreay win. They can still challenge for the title. Swerve is directly responsible for helping, more than almost anybody, Hangman win the belt. Beat Jon Moxley. So they had the perfect built-in story of Swerve coming out when Hangman was cutting that opening show promo and saying, hey, congratulations. I still don't like you. I did help you because I don't like those guys even more. But now you owe me. Give me a shot at the belt. It was perfectly built in. I thought that was the 100% where they were going to go. He brought him the chain. The chain was directly involved in the finish. That's how he beat Moxley, and nothing. The whole thing of, this better not bite us in the ass that we can't go for the AEW World title for a year. And then it's not even a problem anyways because he's going for another belt. What? I don't get it. I don't get it. It's stupid. They literally had the perfect built-in thing for Hangman's first feud and storyline coming out of winning the belt. He could put the Death Riders behind him. They don't need to keep doing that, but they are. And move on to Swerve. The thing that's always looming for Hangman, Swerve. Coming off of the great promo segment that they had last week on Collision. Then coming off of Swerve, like I said, directly causing help that led to the finish and the win for Hangman. Bringing out the chain, giving him the chain resulting in the choke and the finish. And you say, oh, he's going to go after Okada and call him a bitch because Okada calls everybody a bitch. What? I get it. They want this unified title to feel important. So you're going to put one of your top guys as the challenger. I get that. But it just... for what they were, at least what it felt like, and what I heard others say it felt like they were building coming out of All In, was that Swerve was probably, or at least it seemed like Swerve would have been the first guy to challenge Hangman and say, you owe me because I directly helped you beat him. But no, they want to do their random ass bullshit. Again, like I said, this Dynamite felt like a collision. Felt like a collision in a small building with an okay crowd. And yeah, it was just weird. The whole show felt weird. I didn't, other than, the Athena's looming for Tony Storm. Tony's going to challenge the minion, the protege, or fight the protege next week. But yeah, not, in my opinion, a good follow-up to their biggest show of the year. This is supposed to be their Raw after WrestleMania, and it was just another show that actually felt like not a Dynamite, but a Collision. Which, in my opinion, was not good. Not good. But with all of that, I want to say thank you for joining us here. Twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you're watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Remember, you can also help us out over on YouTube. You can hit that join or hit the subscribe button. That way you know we post new videos. That way you know we go live. And that way you know we post the community tab. Also, remember, you can help us out by hitting the join button and becoming a channel member. As a channel member, you get a badge next to your name. You get emails and emojis that you can use in the live chat or in the comments section. And you get access to our graphics packages and our graphics tutorials. Also, remember on YouTube, if you want to get your comment, question, or concern read live on the air, you can do so by donating a super chat in the live chat, and we will guarantee your comment, question, whatever, does get read on the air. And finally, head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Whether you're buying a new game, whether you're buying an old game, whether you're claiming a free game or getting bucks for Rocket League, Fortnite, or Fall Guys, use this code right here, PWUNLIMITED, for all Epic Games and Epic Game Store purchases. Right now, they've got a lot of new Christmas in July stuff coming to Fortnite. So if you haven't gotten Shaka Claus, Snoop on the Stoop, or Mariah Carey in a Santa outfit, you might want to go over there and get those. And when you're doing so, it's going to ask you if you have a creator code, and you do. It is PW Unlimited. Again, that is PWUNLIMITED. Whether that's on your PlayStation, your Xbox, your Switch, your Switch 2, your phone, your tablet, your computer, anywhere where you can play Fortnite, which is a lot of different things. Your Amazon Fire Stick. Use our code PW Unlimited for all Epic Games purchases. But as far as the show tonight does go, and let me refresh my notes because dang old Google Docs froze again on me. It always does that. Jeremy says, can I do it for buying SMH for the item shop in Fortnite? What's SMH? But anything from the shop, because if you go to the bottom of the shop, like if you're looking at the shop and you just look at the bottom of your screen, it's going to ask if you have a creator code. And you do, you put it in, it's PWUNLIMITED, PW Unlimited. Whenever you're buying anything on the shop, whether that's on any platform, at the bottom of the screen, it's going to ask you if you have a creator code. You can put in ours and support us there. And it doesn't cost you anything extra, but we get a little bit of a kickback. But with that, as far as the show does go, AEW Dynamite comes on the air with Tony Schiavone welcoming us in. And they're in this interesting building. So, we're going to talk about this building for a second. They're going to be here for 6 shows. They're doing a residency. It's a really small building. And it's a building that for them, they're not even getting 1,200 people in there. Now, for concerts and other types of events, I think you can get up to 5,000. But the thing here is, you got the stage. Now, that's null and void talking about anyways, because most concerts are going to put up a little stage anyway, so maybe like about the same size. But then with the AEW, you've got the ramp, you've got the ringside area. That's going to take up a bunch of seats. But what AEW didn't do, there's an upper bowl. You know where we saw Darby standing? Those are more seats that they didn't even open. As of yesterday, they still had a couple of seats and tickets still available on Ticketmaster. As of earlier this afternoon, they still had tickets available on Ticketmaster. And then as 30-40 minutes before the show went on the air, everything that they had put on sale was sold. So they can call it a quote-unquote sellout, but they could have actually gotten more. And here's the problem. Here's the issue. Here's the thing. They're coming off of a show, like I stated, that had 28,000 people in the building. So then you go to Chicago, a huge hyped up wrestling town, and you can't even go find a building and can do like 4,000 and hope you can get that. No, because they didn't think they could. They didn't think they can get 4,000, 5,000, 3,000, 2,000. No, they're going into this building for 6 straight shows and going to do less than 1,200 every time. Again, perception-wise, this looks bad. Like, the show was cool because it was in a different venue. Saw a lot of people making jokes. Oh, are they in the Alamo? Oh, are they at a Mexican restaurant? Oh, why have they crossed the border? Is this another CMLL show? Seeing all the jokes on Twitter tonight. And it's sad to see those jokes because they're coming off of being in Globe Life Field. Yes, they were only half-ish full. It was like 55% full. But the way that they set it up looked full. Like, kudos to them for setting up the seating and the stage and all of that to make it not look empty. Because we remember Wembley last year. Every time we saw the stage, it looked like the stage was in an empty building. But they did a great job this year of not making it look empty from any angle. Any angle. But then you go from that in a baseball stadium to this in what literally looked like a Mexican restaurant that they just took all the seats out. To the point where, like, you could see, like, you know, sometimes you go to a restaurant and they got, like, the back room for the VIPs and they got TVs in there for them. They had those too. Like, I saw screen. I wish I had a fucking clip of this. Or I wish I had a screenshot of it. And I could be wrong. But I swear to God that there was a screen that I saw that had goddamn baseball on. The people were at this show, but still watching baseball. Now, granted, that happens at a lot of places. Here in Tulsa, we have the BOK Center. That's our big arena. That's where, you know, our hockey team and our indoor football team play. And I've been there for hockey before. And they've got the VIP suites with TVs. And I've seen, you know, we're watching hockey here, but there's people watching, like, I think it was Georgia and Texas in the college football playoffs in the suite. So that's different though when you're in a big, like, arena compared to this little concert hall. And you got people watching other things. That's the thing too. And I wish I can go back now. I'll have to look later and see if I can find it. But I swear, I saw one of these screens with baseball on it. They all had other random things. None of them were showing the show you're at. But yeah. Anyways, Hangman opens up the show. Gets a good reaction from the crowd. That is the thing, though. When you're in a small building and you get a good amount of people in these small buildings, they sound great. Crowd sounds like they're, you know, double, triple, but they're not. And we can tell that they're not. Because all we see are a few rows of people on the floor. And I hate to keep harping on this, but basically when they showed all these wide shots, all we see are the rows of few people on the floor and then the couple of people up here in the balcony seats. And it's just like couples of people here and there. Anyways, Page has met with the "You Deserve It" chant from the crowd. Page said that there's more to the chant than they understand. And it's the fans who really deserve this. Every single week, the fans demand a better version of professional wrestling and support a grassroots version of it, as they started a revolution to change the world, and that is AEW. Page wants them to know that they just don't do it for the AEW World title, but for the fans who deserve to see the championship on somebody who is here, willing to hold it, willing to have that connection and gratitude for them. He said it all in. He walked into a war that had been going on for 9 months. He was set to set the title free. And that is exactly what he did. That some of those who entered the war didn't come out the same. Page said, I want to thank Orange Cassidy. The crowd chanted, freshly squeezed. I want to thank Switchblade, Jay White, Adam Copeland, the Ops, Bryan Danielson, and Darby Allin. Page also needs to thank someone who made Page realize the future is bright in AEW. But he wasn't able to walk out on his own at All In, and that's Will Ospreay. We talk about Will Ospreay, how he had to be carted out, and then the crowd just starts chanting, Swerve's house. Swerve's house. So I'm like, okay. After a long delay, Page said that he doesn't know whether he helped him or for AEW or for one small moment. For Page himself. To Swerve Strickland, he says thank you. And again, this is literally when I thought Swerve was going to come out and say, hey, you're welcome. But now I'm mowed. But no. Swerve got to come out later. So, All In was a roller coaster for Page. And he's not ashamed to say that. He's not ashamed to say that he shed not only buckets of blood, but tears as well. People like Jon Moxley would call him weak. But Page has a wife and 2 kids that he loves at home. Fans can look and see the respect that he has. And if Moxley wants to look at what kind of a man he really is, he can tonight. Page is the, quote, motherfucking champion of the world. Like, good promo, but it really accomplished nothing. Like, cool, you're the champion. Now what? Oh, you're still dealing with the Death Riders. What the fuck? I thought this was going to be the end of it at the pay-per-view. You get the belt from him, and then that's it. No, you beat them in the main event, and they still beat your ass. And then you get the last laugh because Darby's high up in the rafters looking not scary. Like, that's the other thing. Moxley got all distracted and shocked because Darby's up there. Honestly, I completely forgot about Darby. Darby showed up and go, oh, fuck. And you realize Darby wasn't here because Darby's been gone for so fucking long. And to me, it's like, yeah, Darby's cool and anything, but Darby's never to me come off as a threat at the top of the barrel, at the top of the card. Darby's always come off as a guy that he's going to do some cool stunts in his matches and people are going to be entertained. Is he a threat to a world champion or a former world champion or anything like that? Probably not in my opinion. Is he cool? Yeah. Does he do cool things? Fuck yeah. But Darby being Sting and the one that can, put fear in the eyes of the fearless, that don't do it for me. It just doesn't. And nothing against Darby because I think he's really cool. But it's just, I don't know. And I don't know if it's because he was gone for so long. I just totally forgot about him and he's not in the picture of anything. And it's just, we got to get him back integrated. But when they showed Darby up there in the perch as they're beating the shit out of Hangman and everyone just kind of freezes, oh my God, like the NWO used to do with Sting, it didn't do it for me. And we'll talk about that more later. And then this was great. I thought this was great. They actually gave us a huge recap of the pay-per-view. Huge recap of the pay-per-view, giving us all the biggest highlights and all that. And yeah, it's what they need to be doing. Just like back in the day, WWE'd have a pay-per-view and scattered throughout that next Raw would be highlights from the show and then saying, hey, if you missed it, you still go back on pay-per-view and get the replay. So, Matt and Nick Jackson, they show up to the building and Excalibur says, hey, they can't bully us anymore. We don't have to call Matthew and Nicholas. They're just Matt and Nick. They arrive in just a car from an Uber. No more limos. And I'm like, they're making a big deal about the limo. They only had the limo for like 2-3 weeks best. And then I was making the joke, they're broke now. Really? They are? All of a sudden? At least when they did this thing, I hate to compare them to WWE. But at least when WWE did the broke-ass Corbin stuff, they told us why Corbin was broke. He went to Vegas and lost a bunch of money. Literally, the Bucks lost their EVP status less than a week ago. You don't think they had money saved? You don't think they're still getting a goddamn... That was the dumb thing with the Corbin stuff, too. We don't think he's getting a paycheck still from the company? We don't think they're still getting a paycheck from the company? You don't think they put away a lot of money? I wasn't a fan of the Happy Corbin or the bum-ass Corbin stuff, and I'm not a fan of this. All of a sudden, because... and it's different, but it's kind of not. But just because they're not EVPs anymore, all of a sudden, they're broke? They're slumming it? I don't buy it. We had finally, like 40 minutes into this show, 30 minutes into the show, our first match. It was Kyle Fletcher versus Mascara Dorada. A really good match and a great win for Fletcher. But it's like, okay, cool. He won the match against the guy that loses a lot. Like, when do we ever see Mascara Dorada win on television? In AEW, at least. See him, all the time. But when do we ever see Mascara Dorada win on AEW television? So this win does what? To me, it's no different than if he would have beat like AR Fox, who never wins a match, or one of the Dante or Darius. He would have beat the Crew. Like, it was just a match for match. And they did keep saying stuff about, he still wants to go for the TNT title. He feels like he got robbed of his opportunity. And I get all of that. But beating Mascara Dorada does nothing for me. So Fletcher steamrolled Dorada early on with the big boot and some punches and bunches. Callis and Archer walked out to ringside. Dorada fought back with some flips, scaling the top and spinning an arm drag. Blocked a corner charge, and Dorado went to the ring post, leapt off onto a springboard onto Fletcher. At one point, Dorada countered a powerbomb into a snap hurricane Rana for a near fall. Fletcher then dodged multiple springboard attempts, but not the third one. Dorada hit a head scissors and a thrust kick to the outside. Dorada then connected on a massive shooting star press and got off the middle rope. Dorada then fired off a series of kicks into a code red and got a 2 off of it. At one point, he tried to go for a 450 and got a near fall. It was massive chops by Dorada, who followed this up with the thrust kick and a to Harris. Fletcher then answered with a lawn dart into the corner, flying kick, and a teardrop brainbuster to pick up the victory. Fletcher then did look at the camera and say, Dustin Rhodes stole my moment. So they are building to him getting some wins to then go for the TNT title. So they're doing something, but it's like, Moscar Dorada, He'll probably show up when Dustin does his little speech on Saturday, and they'll build something there. So at least with this, you can see where it's going. There's a lot tonight where it was just like match for match sake. At least with this, they told us where it's going. Fletcher is going to go after Dustin for the TNT title. Renee Paquette caught up with the Bucks backstage, who were in search of their locker room. Paquette then gleefully reminded them that, they lost it all in. They're no longer EVPs, before trying to greet Marina Shafir, who walked by, giving them the cold shoulder. A door with the EVP sign was being crossed off, and I'm like, really? Someone put the EVP sign up, and now they're going to cross it out? This is so stupid. Because it's like, if they lost their EVP status Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4 days ago, they were not in this building. It's not like this building was already set up with that sign on the door. I don't know. I'm looking too hard into it. But where was I? They crossed off the deal, and then labels for just Matt and Nick. Ricochet and the Gates of Agony then walk in saying, it sucks to be them. And I'm like, but they still got their own locker room. Like, yes, they're no longer EVPs, but they still have their own personal locker room. So what's the fucking difference? What's the big difference? You gotta be kidding me. Like, if they were really no longer EVPs and didn't have any power and all of that, then shouldn't they be in the locker room with all the boys? Shouldn't they be in what they call the TV locker room, where everybody's got to change except for the really special people? Like, that would have been the funnier gag here, not this dude that we see sometimes on television that works in production crossing off EVP and just writing Nick and Matt. Like, no. Anyways, they laugh and walk away. Ricochet and the Gates of Agony, that is. Matt says there's so much disrespect here. Don Callis then walks in and really agrees. Said they lose one match and are treated like jobbers. Since Kenny Omega is dead, maybe they can join forces. Since they're the greatest tag team of all time, we would love to have them in the Callis family. Matt said that they'll never join his family. Maybe they could talk. Callis said that he has like 15 members who will be their friends and give them big hugs. And they're reluctant to really want to join forces. So I don't know what's going on here. I don't see the Young Bucks joining the Don Callis family. Yet Okada kind of did. Actually, it looks like Okada really did. And Okada's close with the Bucks, so maybe the Bucks can get persuaded by Okada. I don't know. Also, I did see we got some bit donations here. Esports Gaming Rules says, where's Monet? Because it seems AEW is about to start the Fall of Monet storyline soon. I don't know where Mercedes was. She wasn't on the show tonight. Okay, whatever. Cool. I honestly don't know. This person says, I looked at the Goldberg interview with Ariel Helwani. Boy fans are mad at Goldberg now. That is why stars, quote, retire in WWE. Just go to AEW to, quote, officially end their careers. Okay, we got to talk about this Goldberg thing because so many people are taking it out of context because they didn't watch the fucking interview. So many people saw the 2-minute clip here, 1-minute clip here, 45-second clip here, read the quote here, but didn't watch the full interview. So didn't really understand where Goldberg was coming from, why Goldberg was upset with anything. And he wasn't upset with everything because he thought the match with Gunther was great. He said he had loads of fun and talked glowingly about Gunther. But what the issue was here with Goldberg, and I don't fault him for it. Everyone's bitching about Goldberg, but Goldberg actually made some really good points. So Ariel Helwani asks Goldberg, hey, how long has this been in the works? And honestly, you would have thought it was like October of last year, right? When they set this up with him and Gunther at Bad Blood. But he said that he just talks about setting the date and everything December. He said by the first of the year, we knew when and where the show was taking place. Like he knew what show it was going to be on, what building, what date, everything. He's like, by the first of the year, we knew everything. He's like, but I wasn't able to do anything to promote or build this match till 3 weeks out. And that's what he was upset with for the first part. Goldberg was upset because he wanted to bring in friends and family. He wanted people to be there for his retirement match, but he wasn't able to tell people. He wasn't able to, call up all these friends and say, hey, can you come? I'd love for you to be there, this, da-da-da-da. He's like, I had to call these people 3 weeks in advance. And then some are out shooting movies and shows. They're on tour with their band. They just can't make it because they didn't know ahead of time. He's like, so I wish we would have had more time there. Then the other thing he was upset with was he was under the impression that his retirement speech he was going to give after the match was going to be on television. He's like, we come back and they tell me you got 20 seconds and then I'm off the air. That was the other thing that he was upset with. But when it comes to Gunther and the match, he couldn't talk more glowingly. He couldn't be more happy with the matches that they got. But it was everything else around it. And he even said it. He goes, I know that a lot of people don't get even half of what I got. That they just say they're done in the ring and they're done in the ring. They don't get to go and have a big show in a big main event match for a world title. They don't get to go out there and bring all their friends and family to see their last match. It's just, that last one you did was the last one. He's like, so I understand it. That not everybody, most don't get this. But he's like, the way it went down is what perturbed him the most and pissed him off. He said, but in 2 weeks, I'll lay it all out. And Ariel Helwani's like, 2 weeks? Well, what's the 2 weeks? Is there like an NDA? You're not allowed to talk about anything? And Goldberg just goes, sure, let's go with that. So I don't know what's going on, but in a couple weeks, we're going to find out more. And everyone bitching and moaning, oh, Goldberg's disrespecting WWE. Goldberg's ungrateful. If fucking Rosenberg out here bitching about it. Watch the whole promo or interview. You get more context into what Goldberg was saying and why Goldberg was upset, and you may actually really understand it, other than just seeing these quotes like, let's go here real fast. There was one where he just said, hold on, I have it written down. There was one where he literally just said, and why won't this load? Come on. I think I wrote it down here in my notes. Let's just say I'm pissed at the way I went out. And it's the whole point of he thought he was getting time to cut that speech on TV, and then they told him, you got 20 seconds. So that was the big thing. He felt disrespected there. But I don't know. And then now people go, oh, he's talking shit. He's going to go to AEW. No, he's not. He told Ariel Helwani, I got nothing as far as wrestling even on the horizon. I'm not even thinking about it. I got other things I'm working on. Other projects down the pipeline. Whoop, wrong button. Esports Gaming Rules also says, you see AJ Styles returning to TNA at TNA Slammiversary on Long Island with the WWE partnership. So not returning to TNA per se. He's not going to go in there and I don't think he's working a match or setting up a feud or going back to TNA to be a wrestler there. No. But I think there is a good chance AJ shows up and makes an appearance. So yesterday, Carlos Silva, the president of TNA Wrestling, did send out a tweet stating, hey, we sold out the UBS Arena. We're opening up additional seating. This show is going to be phenomenal. And everyone starts going, oh, an AJ tease. And I'm like, maybe. We'll see. And then today, PW Insider puts out news stating that discussions have actually taken place regarding AJ Styles showing up at Slammiversary. They are billing this as the biggest show in TNA wrestling history. I don't know what the tickets sales are looking like. Let's see really fast. Does WrestleTix have anything? Oh, snap. So Jelly Roll is hosting Kimmel. And they did an angle with him and Logan Paul, where he chokeslammed Logan Paul through a desk. That's cool. Okay. Oh, let's speak Jelly Roll for a second, because I don't care about this goddamn AEW Dynamite. This is a whatever show, whatever podcast now. Jelly Roll was on McAfee. This man, everyone all shitting, "Whoa, we're getting Jelly Roll, another celebrity match. This guy ain't gonna do nothing good." You know, this guy's dedicated himself so hard to this match that he's basically living in Orlando right now. Jelly Roll said when he's not on the road, he's living in Orlando and showing up at the PC every day as soon as that thing opens to train. He's in the ring training with his coach, Matt Bloom. He's in the ring with guys like Kevin Owens and Jacob Fatu. He's got The Undertaker and Michelle McCool sitting there standing with him for 3 hours, giving him pointers while he's running the ropes and doing drills and bumping and doing all these things. Jelly Roll is taking this more serious than I think anybody other than Logan Paul has. Now, Bad Bunny took it pretty serious and got pretty good and had a couple great matches. But other than that, I'm not going to say, oh, Jelly Roll is going to become a full-time WWE guy. I don't see that happening at all. But other than when it comes to celebrities coming into WWE and doing things, other than Logan Paul, I can't think of anybody else. And chat, comment section below, correct me. I can't think of anybody else that's taking it this seriously. And he was on Jelly Roll, that is, the McAfee show this morning, talking about all of this. And he's like, yeah, I'm in there every day taking bumps. Matt Bloom is my coach. He's giving me good direction and pointers and tips. I got The Undertaker and Michelle over here standing on the apron while I'm having matches, giving me tips and telling me what I'm doing good and what I can improve on. He's like, I'm in there with KO and working for a couple hours with Jacob Fatu. Like, this guy is taking it so seriously. It's awesome. And Triple H even said it. Yeah, Jelly Roll, we brought him to the PC to see what he can do, and he blew everybody's mind. Jelly Roll said for the last 3 to 4 weeks-ish, he's been at the PC almost every day training. To the point where they're probably, he's like, I'm there so much, they're probably getting sick and tired of me. So, yeah, I'm glad that we're getting Jelly Roll instead of Travis Scott, who, according to WrestleVotes, or TC from the WrestleVotes podcast, said basically Travis Scott wasn't able to smarten up enough to this business. All I heard was there's a falling out between WWE and Travis Scott, and things didn't go well. Because Travis Scott was supposed to work a match at SummerSlam that apparently may have involved Bad Bunny, but all that got switched. And I'm glad we're getting what we're getting now, because this is actually probably going to be really, really good. With Randy and Jelly, and then Drew and Logan. And yeah, WWE got hella promotion on it during Kimmel tonight, where Logan Paul showed up and Jelly Roll chokeslam. I wish I could show you guys on podcast here, but I'm not allowed to show footage. Look fucking great. Logan Paul goes up perfect because he's Logan Paul, and Jelly Roll, boom, holds him, boom, slams him down, perfect through this table. So yeah, see what happens tomorrow, because Jelly's also hosting tomorrow. But I couldn't be more excited for this. Like, when you see celebrity matches, you go, okay. We had Floyd Mayweather against the Big Show back in the day. Snooki worked the match at Mania 25. We had, I think it was 25. Maybe it was 27. I always get that messed up. I think it was 27, actually. Whatever the Snooki match was. Like, we see celebrity matches all the time that are just nothing, where the celebrity will come in, do one little move, and that's about it. The wrestlers in the match work the whole majority and do everything. But then, like I said, we had the Bad Bunny one. We got a freaking amazing match with Priest. Everything we've gotten from Logan Paul. Logan Paul has been great. And now Jelly Roll. Like Jelly Roll said, that a couple years ago, he talked to Triple H when him and WWE first started doing things together. And he's like, I'd really love to get in there and do stuff. And Triple H told him at one point, you drop the weight. You drop the weight. So he said, I go to Hunter. And I see Hunter and I go, hey, I'm down X amount of pounds. Can I get in there? And he's like, hey, talk to me when you get to this weight. Just drop a little more. And he's like, A, he needed to lose the weight because of his health. But B, this was a really big motivator for him to be in the gym all the time and lose the weight and everything, because it's something he wanted to do as a kid. He said as a kid, they used to go to Smoky Mountain all the time. And yeah, he found a guy that had a wrestling school, let him roll around and bump and stuff when he was younger. But yeah, no. Jelly Roll taking this very serious. He goes, if I took, this is funny. He made fun of himself here. He goes, if I took my shirt off, you'd see a couple things here. First off, you'd see all the loose skin from all the weight I've lost, but you'd see all the welts and bruises on my back from running the ropes. He goes, them damn things are real steel cables. Real steel cables. So I like that. I laughed at it. Great 25 minutes, I think it was, him on McAfee, just talking about a number of different things, but really getting into his involvement with WWE and what he's doing to get prepared properly going into SummerSlam. Not just like, oh, I'm a celebrity, I'm going to punch a guy, this, that, whatever. And put over Austin Theory. He's like, none of this probably would have happened if it wasn't for Austin Theory making me look so good last year. And Pat goes, oh, yeah, we love Austin Theory. Austin Theory, great. So, yeah, no, I can't wait. I can't wait to see exactly what Jelly Roll can do. Because it sounds like he's going to do some things that no one's expecting. I don't think he's going to go pull off some moonsaults or planchas, Tejanos. But I think he's gonna impress very much so. But back to this show, speaking of moonsaults and dives and whatnot, it was Bandito, Brody King, and Jet Speed. It's Josh Alexander, Hechicero, and the Young Bucks. And for the Young Bucks to say earlier they don't want to join Don Callis' family, but then they're teaming with Don Callis' family tonight, This is just a party match. There's the, as we call it, a PWG special. There was nothing special. They had a stupid thing at the start here with the Young Bucks, where they looked like they were going to do their EVP entrance and the music and the video and everything, and then it was just a rib on them. So yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. But as far as the match does go, a giddy Justin Roberts introduced them as the former executive vice president. I'm just like, he goes, the Young Bucks. The Brody King no-sold some early attacks from Josh Alexander. King then cracked him in the back with a stiff chop. The Bucks didn't want to tag in, so Hechicero and Bandito tagged in, and Taz called Hechicero the crazy dancing man. I don't understand that, but whatever. Bandito hit a springboard Hurricane Rana before Jet Speed made quick tags, initially thwarting the Young Bucks. There's a sneak attack with an assisted cross body, but by Knight, and then a double dive to the floor for good measure. Back inside the ring, Alexander got a cheap shot, allowing Nick to hit a punt kick on Knight and an assisted pop-up Hurricane Rana on Bandito. There's a double super kick on Knight and another off the shoulders of Alexander as Bailey stuffed a double stomp, bounce back powerbomb. And then Nick hit a huge springboard dive to the floor as we go to a break. A little bit later on, King hit an assisted Bandito in hitting a springboard moonsault on the top to a pile at the outside. Alexander saved Hechicero in the corner. Jet Speed flew in and then flew out with some dives. Bandito hit a Revolution Fly. The Bucks then broke up the pinfall. The match then broke down as Alexander ate a Poison Rana from Bailey, but the Bucks had a brief super kick. There was a super kick party till about 15% allowed Bandito to hit Nick with a pop-up cutter and a X knee. There was a 21 plex that was blocked by Alexander, allowing the Bucks to hit an assisted indie taker, and a Hechicero hit a big roll. Bandito then was popped up into a double suplex. At one point, the Bucks were going to go for the EVP trigger, but then they realized they couldn't call it the EVP trigger. Hechicero sank in a sleeper. The Young Bucks and Alexander held off their opposition, and Bandito passed out. So Hechicero choked out the ROH World Champion. Now, we saw at Supercard of Honor, Hechicero came out at the end of the show and basically made the challenge that he wants to go for that ROH World title against Bandito. So this here, well, even though, it was just a party match, they did solidify Hechicero as a challenger for Bandito. Esports Gaming Rule says, we got Jelly Roll. Every WWE fan is going to say Travis Scott, or Travis who? For the whole Travis Scott problem with John Cena heel turn. Yeah, I don't know. We just got to look at that as a wash, to be completely honest. The Travis Scott, John Cena stuff, even the John Cena Rock stuff, it's all a wash at this point. Like, we're supposed to just forget about it. So we get Cope, which is weird because the graphic that they showed on social media said Adam Copeland, but then here they introduced him as Cope. And even like before the break, they said after the break we'll hear from the Radar Superstar, and it said Adam Copeland on it, the same graphic we got on social media, but then it's just said Cope. Still got the dumb name. Yeah, first off, Cope comes out and says, y'all think I came at all in to help Christian? I didn't come to help Christian. I came because I don't like FTR. Christian's an asshole. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You're trying to make it make sense when it doesn't. I get it. This man even talked about fucking contract tampering, kind of. Now, he never said he had a conversation with Tony Khan about coming to AEW, but he literally said, I was talking about doing rated FTR with FTR when I was still in the other company. Which there's nothing illegal about that. No, if he was talking to Tony Khan, and Tony Khan was giving him plans, like, personally, hey, you're going to do this, and we want to do this with you, and here's the money, then that's contract tampering. But everyone online going, oh, Cope confirmed AEW contract tampered. Not necessarily. It was more of he knew when his contract was coming up with WWE. He knew that there was probably a good chance that AEW would sign him, and two of his best friends are there. So he was basically having conversations with them saying, hey, if I go there, let's team up and do something. Let's see if Tony can write into storylines of us doing things together. That's basically what it was. That's what it was. I don't see it as a contract tampering thing, as everyone's trying to make it, not everyone, but a lot of people trying to make it out on social media. Because, everyone likes to spin their narrative. Not what this is at all. But, so from the second he arrived here in AEW, Cope has tried to make his life, Cage has tried to make his life miserable. Christian, that is. Cope ran down everything Cage has done to him, even costing him the AEW World title against Jon Moxley. Cope doesn't blame Nick Wayne, Kip Sabian, or Mother Wayne for doing what they did and turning on him at All In. As Cope told Cage this would happen. And he hopes now Cage is pulling his giant cranium out of his ass. Cope didn't come back to help Cage, though. He came to get revenge on FTR. 5 years ago, Cope got his dream back. And the first people he called, were FTR. Who he knew could whip him back into shape. Cope said, even though they were in different companies, they were already talking about being rated FTR and trying to win the trios titles in AEW. But when they finally got together, after a few weeks, they started complaining that they were glorified edgeheads. The thing about megalomaniacs is that they blame everybody else for their shortcomings. For 4 months, they had Cope on the shelf. 4 months that he doesn't even really have, because he's got no time to waste with the limited amount of time he's got left in his career. He said, but every time he steps into the ring, it could be his last. So these 4 months, he'll never get back. And now he's going to take that away from them. He's not here just to beat FTR in a match. He is here to end FTR. But Stokely Hathaway comes out with security. And he comes out, and it's kind of just this is dumb. This is stupid. He's like, well, first off, Hathaway said FTR read Cope like a book, as he's met with shut the fuck up chance. Hathaway said, this sounds more like a Hathaway family reunion. He said, I have a question for you, Cope. The weapon you had it all in, you call it Spike? Is a liability. So much so that after the pay-per-view, AEW, Tony Khan, and Warner Media received 3 anonymous emails about Cope's behavior. What the fuck stupid shit is this? That's what I'm thinking, He said, moving forward, if Cope interferes in FTR matches, he'll be fired. I'm like, what? What? Tony Khan really got this put in writing? First off, Warner Media? What does that have to do with anything? Is that them subtly telling us, oh yeah, Warner Media does own part of this company? Is that them actually finally admitting that Warner Media does have a stake in AEW? Because why would Warner Media getting a letter about Cope's behavior matter in the fucking least bit? It wouldn't. Only Tony Khan getting a letter would matter. Now, if it was you know, they got a letter because they allowed this on their television, blah, 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 blah. That's a different story, which they did allow the Spike thing to be. Anyways, yeah, none of this makes fucking sense. So he basically tells Cope, you can't get involved in FTR matches. You can't even be around them. And Cope goes, okay, I get that. You sound like a very angry little Oompa Loompa. The crowd starts chanting Oompa Loompa, and he tries to egg it on, going, I hope that doesn't catch on. And then he goes, but I have a question myself. So I can't get anywhere near them. And say I couldn't get anywhere near you. That's when Hathaway pushes the security guards towards Cope. Cope takes the two out. The other two on the outside run away. And then he takes a spear from Cope. Cool. This sucked. Like, Cope cut a good promo. Because he always cuts good promos. But it was stupid. Oh, there are 3 letters sent to Tony Khan and Warner Media. We know who those 3 letters were from. 3 anonymous letters. Yeah, okay. Dumb. We get a history of Mark Briscoe's run-ins with the Death Riders. Briscoe is backstage and said if it walks, talks, and acts like a bitch, well, it's a bitch. MJF dodged Briscoe the entire Casino Gauntlet, as the 2 things Briscoe needed to do was whoop MJF's ass and get a title shot. But thanks to MJF, he accomplished neither of those. Briscoe thought that he'd be done with MJF, but they're just getting started. Briscoe made his debut a few years ago under unfortunate circumstances and brings up MJF mentioning his brother Jay a few weeks ago. Some call it karma. You reap what you sow. MJF will make MJF pay for his sins. And again, another thing that makes no sense here. Like, why? The only reason you guys did that promo segment at all was because you're both in the Gauntlet match. But I saw nothing. Well, not nothing, but I basically saw nothing in the Gauntlet match that really made me think, oh, we need a Mark Briscoe MJF feud. Granted, Mark Briscoe was about to win. MJF threw him off and stole the pin. Sure. But it's like, I forgot all about that until it said it tonight. All I remember is MJF won. Did I remember how MJF won? Nope, because it was a unmemorable Gauntlet match. It wasn't a Gauntlet match, it was a Rumble. I'll say that till the day I die. AEW Gauntlet matches are not Gauntlet matches, they're Rumbles. You know what was a Gauntlet match? Fucking the main event of Raw. Then we got a 4-way for $100,000. Oh my Jesus. Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander, Tekla. Oh, I say Tekla because that's how it's spelled. Queen Emanata. Again, another match. It really didn't matter at all for anything. Fast start here before women start fighting, and then eventually there's just 2 in the ring. Statlander gave Tekla a delayed vertical suplex. Tekla avoided a press slam, fired off a thrust kick, but Amanata pulled her to the outside. They're all fighting there, so then Statlander and Nightingale go at it for a moment, and then it breaks down with more just random fighting. And after a commercial break, Tekla was fighting off both Statlander and Nightingale until Statlander avoided a head scissors, placed Tekla in the corner, and Amanata returned to the fight, only for Tekla to rise and do a spider suplex. Tekla sent Statlander crashing into Nightingale before doing her spider walk and huge spear. Nightingale then missed a swing. Amanata connected with a headbutt on Tekla and a spinning fisherman suplex on Statlander. At one point, Amanata and Tekla and the Statlander and Nightingale were all paired off. The Statlander hit a blue thunder bomb. Amanata hit a air raid crash. And Nightingale hit a doctor bomb on Tekla, but then Statlander pulled referee Aubrey Edwards away, so she couldn't go for the pin. Nightingale and Statlander then brawled up the ramp. Back inside the ring, Amanata hit a neck breaker and a double stomp off the top on Tekla. Sky Blue then walks out and runs distractions, allowing Julia Hart to appear and missed Queen Amanata. Tekla connects with the curb stomp and gets the win. So they're teasing now a three-woman unit here with Sky Blue, Julia Hart, and Tekla. They did a video for social media later where Julia Hart and Sky Blue are sitting at the bottom of these stairs. They're wearing shirts that say sin on them. And then Tekla walks down the stairs behind them and sits a couple steps up from them. And they all just kind of embrace and look at each other and smile. So there's a 3-woman unit there. Tekla's already just whatever. Tried to build her up big. She never felt big, and she's just a whatever on the roster now. Sucks. She got a win here. A big win, actually, I would say. Because she beat both Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale, former TBS champions. But in a match that, come tomorrow, come Saturday's Collision, most are going to forget. A very forgettable match. Then we got Toni Storm. The AEW Women's Champion appeared in one of the balconies as she's met with a standing ovation. Storm said, "If the gay banter. This is the whore you adore, the slut you can't rebut, the bitch you want to itch, the skank you want to spank, this trollop that you can't wallop, this tramp is still a champ." I'm like, okay, get on with it. Storm then thanks Mercedes Moné for going all in with her at the pay-per-view, as they did everything they set out to do. And I'm like, breaking the fourth wall here. You're breaking the fourth wall here. Like, seriously. In case Moné forgot, Storm said if she made one false move, she'd eat Moné alive. And darling, you were delicious. Yeah, she stuck her face right in her pussy, right in her snatch. Moné wants to come back for seconds. Then from her lips to hers, the buffet is always open. Storm is sad to announce Luther was injured and is out of the line of duty. She said he requires surgery. Taz kind of chuckled and laughed about this. He doesn't like Luther. I'm like, what? From what? Okay. Storm. And now, Storm says that she is pointing to the future, as there are so many people with the knives, so she ought to be careful. And this title, the biggest one we have in this company, this building, this planet. Athena and Billy Starks then appear on the big screen. Athena said that, the big one is really the ROH Women's Championship. That is what's more important. I'm like, is it real? Like the Olsen twins say in the Little Rascals. Are you sure? She said Storm will be the wide-hipped heifer that no one will care about. So while Luther is out injured, so is Mina Shirakawa, who she injured at All In. I'm like, what? Mina's hurt too? Fuck! She just won a belt, an interim title. She said no one is watching Storm's back anymore, so she can take the title from her. Tonight, London, Canada, she'll never know when. She's having too much fun with this. Storm's demise and murder she's here for. Storm said that Athena is ready. Storm will be sweaty. If you're willing, Storm will be thrilling. If you're able, Storm will bend you over the table because Storm is timeless. Then we're told Storm will face Billy Starks next week on Dynamite. Cool. I mean, I think these two are going to have a great match once they finally have a match, whether it's a real match or a cash-in or whatnot. But, I mean, at least they both come off pretty big stars. Toni Storm leaps and bounds bigger, but that's just because we rarely ever see Athena on television. But again, the question is, Mina's hurt? Literally, on Friday, Mina Shirakawa won an interim championship in Ring of Honor because Red Velvet's hurt. These fucking people in this company are always getting goddamn hurt. Adam Cole got hurt on Collision because Scott Fletcher gave him a stiff fucking clothesline. The reason that we got so little announced till about 3 hours before this show is because Tony didn't know who was healthy enough to work. And it happens after every pay-per-view. Everyone talks about they have all these great matches in AEW and they lay it all out on the line. Well, maybe they lay a little too much on the line sometimes. Because now you got people that are hurt and injured and on the shelf. And Mina Shirakawa did almost nothing in that gauntlet match anyways. But they're saying now that she was hurt in the gauntlet match. Skip Sabian, Nick Wayne, and Mother Wayne are backstage. It's actually not bad. Sabian said that he was the one who chose Christian Cage as a father figure, then realized what the real purpose was here. To be brothers with Nick. Not under a patriarchy, but a matriarchy with Mother Wayne. Shayna Wayne said that Cage had trouble getting up on Saturday, which is, well, nothing new for him. I kind of chuckled at that one. She said, these are her boys. Nick is her son and our prodigy. Nick said that it's quite simple. Cage is past his expiration date. He's become a liability for the patriarchy. They realized that when Cage went on his own path to try and become the world champion. That's when things started to derail. Cage used to love getting into Nick's face about the title that he won. But Cage forgot Nick is 21 years old and the youngest champion in this company's history. And the question is, how many titles will Nick win over the course of his career? Nick said that everyone will be forced to view him as the face of TNT and AEW now and forever. And then I go, great promo here from Nick. Probably the best I've ever seen him cut, but you're not the TNT champion. You're the ROH TV champion. So let's say you're the face of TNT. No, that's Dustin right now. Okay. So then Don Callis comes out. And he's holding the Continental, International, not the Unified. I wrote Unified here, but now that I'm thinking of it, Okada had the Unified. Anyways, he's got the Continental and the International belts. And he said, we witnessed greatness on Saturday at All In. And for the first time, Kazuchika Okada is now being introduced as the Unified Champion. Okada comes out with new music. I wasn't a fan. I don't know what this song is, but it felt like it did not fit Okada. I'm not a fan here. I'm going to assume a lot of folks aren't going to be happy with this. And maybe it gets changed back like Mina Shirakawa's. I don't know. Kivisha says, Nick Wayne said he's 20 years old. Did he? I wrote 21. Maybe I just got it wrong. Let's see. Nick Wayne. How old's Nick Wayne? 20. Okay. I wrote it wrong. My bad. It happens. So, where was I? Okada comes out. Took on a guy named Rafael Quintero or something like that. I don't know. And with a big Buddha dropkick and Rainmaker and pinned him. This was a fucking nothing. Because then we got Swerve coming out. Swerve comes out. Post-match, Callis said that Okada has something to say, but he was interrupted by Swerve Strickland. As he said that Swerve Strickland screwed his friends, the Young Bucks. He's a bitch. Swerve and Prince Nana come down. And he said, Okada, what are you going to do about it, you bitch? Callis whispered something to Okada, and they just retreated. What? I'm not going to go on this tangent again, because I said it at the beginning of the show here, but the whole point at the pay-per-view was that, if Swerve and Ospreay lose, they can't challenge for the world title for a year. And Swerve was reluctant about that, because he's like, well, what if we do lose? We better not lose. I want to be able to go for the world title. And then, boom, he's just over here challenging now for the unified title. What does this matter now? If the Young Bucks would have beat them, he'd still be in the same position. He can still go for the unified title. So the whole big point of, I hope we don't lose so I can go for the world title, is now null and void, because he's not going for the world title. He's going to go for another title. So dumb. It's just so dumb. Before we talk about the main event, which I kind of already talked about a bunch earlier with the Darby stuff and the way the match ended and whatnot, but before we get into all that, we got to hear from our sponsor, Aewcooly. Does the summer heat got you sweating through your shirt before noon? Maybe it's time to chill with an Aewcooly handheld fan. This pocket-sized powerhouse is your secret weapon against scorching temps. Whether catching rays listening to music or just looking to get a great tan, it brings the breeze right when you need it. With 3-speed settings, a rechargeable battery that lasts up to 10 hours, and a whisper-quiet motor, the Aewcooly fan delivers cool comfort without the buzz or bulk. Toss it in your bag, clip it to your desk, or have it right by your side at all times. It's compact, stylish, and oh so convenient. So why melt when you can breeze through summer? Use our link in the description below, scan the QR code on the screen, or head over to pwunlimited.co/Aewcooly. That's AECOOLY now for coolin' in the palm of your hand. As far as the main event goes, the AEW World Champion Hangman Page, 1/3 of the Trios Champions Powerhouse Hobbs, and Mark Briscoe taking on the Death Riders John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta. And to be honest, there was nothing special about this match at all. Nothing at all other than, it went through a break, it went long, and Hangman picked up the win. Like, literally, I didn't even write notes for this match because I'm watching it going, I'm bored. Why is this match even happening? Friggin' Briscoe was over here talking about, I gotta go after MJF. I got beef with MJF. I want MJF. And then he's doing this match. What? Just an hour ago, he was bitching about wanting to fight MJF, and now he's in this match. Are you kidding me? Really? Like, there was nothing special about this match. It was all your normal stuff. Death Riders take control, then they get beat back. And then Wheeler Yuta gets, triple teamed for a while. And then the other two come back, Claudio and Moxley, and they get a little bit of an advantage. And then Wheeler gets... And then eventually by the end, as we come down here to the finish, I'll just read what I got here. There was a fastball special connection, but as they went for a doomsday device, Page landed on his feet and sent Claudio to the outside with Briscoe hitting a dive. Which, what the fuck, Claudio? Briscoe hits this cannonball dive to the outside, and Claudio ducks it. And Briscoe rolls off Claudio's back and almost is wiped out. Anyways, Page connected with an Orihari moonsault. And then back inside, Page went for the buckshot, but Moxley flew in and raked the eyes. Moxley walked back into a spine buster, but Yuta ran into a Busaku knee, ran in with the Busaku knee, only for Briscoe to fly in with a froggy bow. Castagnoli then ducked the buckshot, tried the neutralizer. Page got the jackknife pin and pinned him 1, 2, 3. There we go. So then the Death Riders attack Hangman. And apparently they ran off Briscoe and Hobbs. Like, what? They just disappeared out of nowhere. They just gone out of the blue. Just all of a sudden, it's just like, they're beating down the world champion. Oh, and Hobbs and Briscoe are gone. The commentary was really confused. And so, like, Moxley's on him, beating down Page. And Claudio gets on him. He's beating down Page. And all of a sudden, we see a light up there at the top of the building. And everyone just stops and goes, it's Darby. They really want his fucker to still be Sting. They really want this guy to be Sting from 1997, 1998, when he would spook the NWO. But here's the thing. Yes, Darby is crazy. Darby is cool. Darby's freaking awesome. But to me, he's no Sting. He doesn't come off as this guy that is the guy that always gets the better of the top heels. And maybe, again, like I said earlier, that is the fact that he's been gone for so long, we forgot about what Darby has done and can do and whatnot. But just this, as his big introduction back, yes, he ascended from the heavens at the pay-per-view and got a little bit of whatever, but not a lot. And then tonight, he's just up there. He's the Crow. He's their new Crow, because Sting retired. And it did nothing for me. It really, to me, just made Moxley look stupid. For him to be like, oh. And then, like, Page comes in with the goddamn buckshot on Moxley. All of a sudden, Hobbs and Briscoe are back, and they're all standing tall. Really? 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 Like, that's it. Yeah, that was Dynamite. If you missed it, you missed nothing show, if I'm going to be completely honest. This was if you missed it, you missed almost nothing show. Basically nothing show. Again, I'll say it one last time. This felt more like a collision to me than a Dynamite. But with all of that, you know what I thought of the show. Now it's time to hear what you guys thought of tonight's show. As far as the polls do go. Wow, on Twitter, 52% didn't like the show. 28% liked it, and 19% thought it was just all right. Looking at the Threads poll, 58% liked the show, 25% didn't, and 17% thought it was just all right. Looking at the community poll, 76% liked the show, 13% thought it was just all right, and 11% didn't like it. As far as the live poll does go, 73% liked the show, 15% thought it was just all right, and 12% didn't like it. Finally, looking over on Twitch, 60% liked the show, 20% thought it was just all right, and 20% didn't like it. With that, guys, that is going to wrap everything up. I want to say thank you for joining me here, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. We'll be back live on Friday for Friday Night SmackDown. With that, have a great night. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one, guys.